So I just saw on your Metafy that you said you wanted to talk about how to go over a solid game plan. That
Yeah,
was
so
okay.
I feel, I guess, kind of as a follow-up, I've been thinking about that a lot recently, and I feel like my game plan's not bad, but there are some instances where, especially like when I am not able to consistently get my approaches in, or I feel like I'm being walled out a lot, or baited too much, and I feel like that my game plan kind of just crumbles apart, and then I'm stuck in a position where I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Um, and I feel like that's something that I struggle with a decent bit. It comes up often enough for me that I want to try and figure out exactly what it is I'm either doing wrong in that situation, or um, I guess just kind of how to play around different things with that.
Okay. So there's a couple things I would say. So we can get into this game just be into it for the sake of examples and stuff like that. But the first thing I would say with regards to a game plan is there a specific character that you're dealing with that's like, yo, and I fight against a sword character or a projectile character or a character that's as fast as mine or a character that's way stronger than mine. Like, is there something specific? Because you said walling out, and like
Yeah,
you can be walled out by Villager and by Lucina, not necessarily in the same way, but like kind of like you just can't get in because they have more range than you. It looks a little different, but it's essentially the same preface is that you can't get in on them. But is there a character that's specific or a specific archetype for you?
it's usually characters that can just outrange me and don't have to respect my options as much. Like Lucina and Greninja are some good examples.
Speaking of Greninja, yeah, Kalela's in the chat right now. I'm assuming this is this is part of the reason right here. You hate to see it,
That was
bro.
that was one of the things that was making me think about it, but that was definitely not the first time that I've encountered a lot of stuff with that.
Okay.
He's correct though.
I was gonna say, as far as a game plan, if I have a specific game plan for a character, like if I was really going to break it down and say in a tournament setting, this is what I would do to beat someone. I would say most of the time I take the percent out of the equation as far as thinking I need to get them to kill percent to get a kill, or I need to get them to kill percent to win. And I look at specifically their main weaknesses. So I'll say in a matchup like this, Pikachu versus Falco, you can absolutely destroy me off stage. If you
Yeah,
feel like you're not good at going off stage against Falco, that's where you'd have to practice to become stronger in that area, right? But to think that you have to get me to 140 before you get me off stage, you don't. You can literally get me off stage at 0, and if you get a drag down back air or a spike or a footstool or you get me with the T-jolt, I'm just dead. And if you put your focus more so into that, it's going to sculpt most of your moves as far as where you're going to be sending me, or it's going to be sculpting almost all of your moves. When you could be juggling me vertically, don't think vertically, think horizontally, right? Send me off stage
yeah,
as much as you possibly can. If you're going for, let's say, a back throw right here versus a down throw to take me this way across the stage, because if you go to the right, you can do 40 or 60. If you go to the left, you can do 10. It's like, well, if you go to the left, let's say you do a back throw, and then you snipe my jump with a T-jolt, and then I'm recovering with up B, and you spike me, or you back air me into the stage, and I miss my tech, or even I get my tech, and I'm out here again, and now I have to like side beat to the ledge. Maybe you get like, let's say you do a back air like this, you land on stage, then you go for a forward tilt or an F smash. Eventually, I'm way off stage with no jump, and I'm up being like this, right? And I might make it back, in which case you can go off stage with the fair, you can try and spike me like this, and that whole situation was set up because you decided to do one thing different, that being throw me off stage versus down throw towards the stage, right?
yeah,
So as far as game plan goes, and here's the thing, if you can do this properly, like I said, percent doesn't matter. Like if I'm fighting a Ganon player, for example, and I know we don't fight tons of Ganons in competitive play, but when we do happen to fight a Ganon or a DK or even Cloud or Roy, if I can get them off stage and gimp them, I'm gonna try, right? I
yeah,
don't want to fight Cloud in neutral. Cloud's neutral is better than Falco's. He's faster, he's heavier, has more range, has way more moves that can kill. He has an out of shield game that's substantially better. So why give him more opportunity to use that against me, right? So as far as like, let's say Lucina's off stage is not, it's not bad. I'll admit it's not bad. But if she loses her jump, she's absolutely dead off stage. Her ability to land on stage is not that bad either because she can stall using Dancing Blade. She's relatively floaty, so in some cases that can be bad. But if she is mixing it up with her air drift, she's wave landing to platforms or just getting down. I wouldn't say using counter, but like using nair, using up air, using back air just to try and hit you away and getting back into neutral and then outspacing you. If you notice that that's happening, let's say you get like a down throw, or let's say you get like up tilt, up air or back air, and you get me up into the air. If that sequence gave you like, let's say 18 to 23%, but I got down back into neutral for free, and it took you taking 30 or 40 or 50% to at least win that one neutral interaction, that whole situation to try and replicate again in the future is not worth doing. If that makes sense. If every single time you try and get in, I'm hitting you with fair or down tilting you or getting you off stage as, let's say, as Lucina, then when you finally get in, you do a combo and I stay on stage, it's not worth it, right? Get me off the stage. If you, let's say, for example, if you can do up tilts into up airs as your combo, or you can go back airs off the stage, go for back airs off the stage, right? Reason being, like I said, because you want to try and ledge trap Lucina. You want to try and keep them off stage as much as you can. Keep them out of neutral. And I'd say the opposite thing for a character like Game & Watch, who I know Pikachu doesn't necessarily do amazing against, but against Game & Watch, there is literally no point in trying to get this character off stage. Because number one, if you get them off stage, they're getting back for free, and the character is insanely floaty and fast as far as their up B, so they can just get around being edge guarded entirely. They go super high, they come down with an attack, or they come down with like fair, or come down with down air, or they just land with a fast fall, and they get back into at least a juggle state. And even with the juggle state, they're going to get down for free. But their main weakness for Game & Watch is being incredibly light and having short range. So you're going to have to out-neutral a character like that. So your game plan would change.
Yeah, so the struggle with Lucina specifically is, like, I noticed, and I think this is kind of where some of the things you're talking about before with making sure that you're playing neutral close while staying outside of the range of unreactable things, but close enough that you can react to, like, whiffed approaches or anything else like a bad landing to be able to punish off that and continue aggression. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of that is kind of coming into play when trying to fight characters who are just outspacing me, like Lucina, for example. But one of the things I struggle with is Lucina, like, you can kind of edge guard her, but usually I don't go for it unless I notice she's really off stage and I can go for like a T-Jolt fair, or I can catch her, like, she can't just up B, because Lucina up B is like freaking impossible to challenge.
Yeah. I was going to say with regards to the staying out of the range of something reactable, we're going to talk about that a little bit. So come down here for a second. So if you are, let's say, right here, if I'm right here, actually, let's say if I'm like, let's say this far away, and I'll say my reactable range is somewhere in here, where if you happen to jump in fair, I could potentially shield or roll back or jump out of the way or like do something like that. But there's going to be a point in time where it's like a point of no return, which is all the way up here, right? Or at least maybe right here. And this is where a chain reaction of habits are going to come out, right? So this is where good habits would come out of, would be coming out as far as, let's say, if let's say the chain reaction happened where I came down with down air, I missed my down air, I immediately spot dodged, you tried to grab me, I dashed out of the way, you jump in with fair, I go like this or something. And all these things, I wouldn't say it's pure luck, but it's a chain reaction or a pattern that happens over and over again when you're playing against people all the time. For example, an even simpler pattern would be, if I jump down in front of you with a nair, if I don't know what's going to hit you, or even if I do, since I'm so close to you, I'm going to immediately up tilt or immediately down tilt, just to make sure that if I miss my nair, I still have something to protect myself, right? So that situation for me, whether it's a hit or a miss, it's unreactable for me, even though I'm the person that is starting the situation, right? So let's say if you're fighting against a Lucina, if they're jumping at you with, let's say, landing fair, they land on your shield with fair, do they immediately spot dodge? Do they immediately shield? Do they immediately dash back and dancing blade? Do they immediately jump with a nair? Do they immediately up B? Do they immediately up tilt? Like, what do they do as soon as they land? And as far as the walling out, or I guess the neutral aspect of this, we'll get back into. Actually, you know what? Let me switch to Lucina. Right. As far as what you'd be looking for here is what are my panic options, and can you adjust to them? I'm not sure if we've talked about this in the past, as far as this is almost closer than close neutral. This is close quarter combat, right on top of each other, neutral, right? There's going to be a series of habits that come out, or a series of options that you just naturally will gravitate towards, whether or not it's your character's fastest options, or it might even be bad options, as far as like landing with nair, then spot dodging immediately, right? Versus landing with nair, then up tilting, landing with nair, then dashing back, or landing with nair, then down tilting, right? So when we get to this point right here, let's say you're right up on me. If I come down with a fair and I miss, what do I do right after that? right? In most cases, I would say most Lucinas will probably go like this, then dash back, right? And they either go for a forward tilt, or they dash, or they come down with like a fair, then they jump back with another fair, or they go like this. If you're in shield, they might try and up tilt you, right? They might try and catch you in some way. And this is where pattern recognition has to come into play for you, right? And the pattern recognition is going to snowball into your game plan. So let's say, for example, you know I'm going to come down with fair, and I'm going to up tilt your shield, right? Now, if you get a grab right here, if we're in the middle of the stage, I might go for a combo. Like a back throw at 0 here is not going to get me all the way off the stage. So sure, take that exchange, put on as much damage as you possibly can. Better yet, if you're actually facing backwards and you can do those back airs, I'd go for it. Let's say if grab is not on the table, back air out of shield versus nair out of shield. That's what I'd be going for, trying to push me across the entire stage. And as these situations are continuously unfolding, I'm not going to say that I'm always going to go fair into like a forward tilt or up tilt, but the more you can call those out as far as my panic options, the more you're going to win your neutral exchanges and get me to a situation where you can win not based on my percent. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So I would say
it's very possible.
Go ahead.
It's very possible that a lot of the things I struggle with are, at the end of the day, really just matchup specific, whereas the archetype that I do struggle with in general. But as a great example, I used to struggle a lot against Sephiroth for the same reasons of just big range, wall me out really well, and I didn't know how to do it. And then once I discovered how to fight Sephiroth, I've never really had that problem with him since.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know if part of it is me just not knowing matchups as well as I should, on top of all of that. But I definitely do think that I need to work on a lot of my pattern recognition stuff in general. I feel like, especially when I feel like my game plan isn't working, I kind of just panic option and continue throwing out either bad, unsafe aerials or...
So you're basically you're saying
rather than waiting.
So what you're saying is exactly the thing that you have to be catching on the opponent. Because let's say, for example, when let's say your game plan crumbles, you start to panic and just throw things out. Let's say, for example, if I'm doing my fair, some people are going, like, let's say, fair into up tilt with a plan, but there's also players that are doing fair into up tilt as a panic option, right? It might not look like they're panicking to you because every time you guys panic at the same time, by almost pure luck, you happen to jump and they happen to up tilt, right? So it feels like, wow, how does he know I'm going to jump? So I don't know that you're going to jump. I just got scared too. We both just freaked out and I got lucky. And believe me, that happens a lot, man. It really does happen a lot. So it now becomes your job to try and keep a level head or stay calm to say, okay, if he's going to land with a fair, I know he's going to swing. I don't know what he's going to do, but I know he's going to do something that's going to be unsafe on shield directly after. Right? So if it's this into this, or like I said, this into this, or this into this, or I don't know, I'll do this into like another jump, some sort of aerial right after. Just assume, and this is if they have a particular pattern that looks like this, they're not going to go like this and to like walk away forward tilt like that. They're not going to go fair into grab, right? They have to show you that they're going to do that. But if you are not punishing if you're not punishing their first pattern or their first panic habits, then they're not going to switch it up, right? And that's how, if you're continuously panicking and saying, if I was just a little bit faster, I would have caught them, that situation is not going to work out for you, right? But let's say, for example, too, if I did come down like this, then up tilt. If you stay in shield the entire time and you're constantly getting grabs, if I don't adjust and change my pattern, you're going to win. You're going to get combos, you're going to get me off stage, you're going to get a chance to ledge trap me or edge guard me, right? Now, what I have to start doing is go like this with better spacing so I can't get grabbed, or like go like this into up tilt and, I have to go for fair and not up tilt with good spacing so I can't get grabbed. Or if I am going to come down and go for an up tilt, if I do come down with a fair and I do have bad spacing, I have to like just grab you immediately, right? If I believe that you're going to let me sequence on your shield. And sequencing on shield is basically letting me hit your shield multiple times with something that is not safe, right? So, for example, if you're holding shield, if I'm just going like this, I'm just doing like a down tilt over and over again, it's not safe at all, right? It's safe to do once, but if I'm doing it over and over again, there's start up and end leg to this move over and over where I'm putting myself in a bad position, whether or not you're jumping over the top and catching me, even if I don't touch your shield, because like if I'm in the middle of this move, as you jump and come down, I can't cancel this move instantly, right? Yeah. So you can come over the top and change up the sequence as far as if I'm just doing that on your shield over and over again. I'll find that a lot of players will let me sequence on their shield if I'm playing a character like Sheik. I can forward tilt your shield 4 times and you won't do anything. Or I'm playing Mithra and I'll down tilt your shield 3 times and you won't do anything. It's like, if I down tilt your shield once, you could punish me, right? But a lot of players get scared. And that's where I guess the panic option is, I'm just going to stay in shield until the coast is clear. Right? So it's something to just be aware of. These patterns happen all the time. Every single time. It is rock, paper, scissors. It's not even like rock, paper, scissors. It literally is rock, paper, scissors, where if you and me are dashing back and forth like this, and I jump in and go like this, and you go for a back air, but you do a rising aerial and I do a landing aerial, you're going to beat me in that interaction. Right? Because I'm jumping in late, and you're coming up with your aerial. Right? So if every single time we do that, we do the exact same interaction, whether or not it feels like luck, I'm going to lose that. So I have to now adjust to you. The pattern that I see is at a certain range. You believe that your jump height and your aerial drift will get you far enough to meet me in the middle with something. Right? So instead of me jumping in and losing by doing this, I can now go for like a back air. Or I can run underneath and go for an up tilt. Right? And if you don't switch up your pattern as far as at a certain range, he just jumps in. Or at a certain range, he jumps in, and if he misses, the first thing he does is spot dodge. Right? If someone's spot dodging on you, you could even be dropping shield and down smashing them. Right? Instead of trying to go for a grab. You can be dropping shield and going for jab, which I don't really recommend because your jab's not that great. But something that's a little bit longer lasting. Right? You could go for thunder. You can do all kinds of stuff to punish that spot dodge. So it's up to you to switch up that pattern. Or break that pattern, I should say.